Okay, I'm just going to link us to the live stream.
Who knew we would be doing all of this stuff?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to pop it to our group. And our group is, let me see, I don't know why it didn't pull up straight away. Okay, there we go. Yes, share to the group. Okay, see if that goes live. I'm just going to check the group.
I have to consent to that now again too, so that's good. Just did it.
Okay, here we go.
There we are. Consent to that now again too, so that's good. Just
Hi everyone, welcome to Wholehearted
Consent to that
Chats.
now again too, so that's good. Just
Hi everyone, welcome to Wholehearted
Consent to that
Chats.
now again too, so that's good. Just
Hi everyone, welcome to Wholehearted
Consent to
Chats.
that now again too, so that's good.
Oh, I think we got a feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it opened it in okay, that's better. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Welcome, ladies. This is our first of many Wholehearted Chats, and we're starting today with Pat Perrier. So firstly, I'd like to welcome and thank everyone for joining our group, the Wholehearted Wonder Women 50 plus global community. Quite a mouthful to get that out in one breath. Thank you so much for supporting our book, and thank you for doing reviews and reading and sharing. We really appreciate that. So we wanted to come in our group to connect with you very intimately in these small chats so that you can get to know us and who we are. So I'd like to welcome Pat, and I'm going to give her the big drum roll in introduction. So Pat Perrier is a MA, an MBA, and an ERYT. Is that the correct way to say that? She's a lifelong learner who has held the position in corporate world, the legal field, healthcare, copy editing, and non-profit sector. She also owns and teaches Just Breath Yoga Studio in Crest Hill in Illinois. And she teaches workshops, private lessons, and she has a functional approach to yoga. So welcome, Pat.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. And I understand I'm the first one, and that's kind of how that happened in college too. Whenever there was an opportunity to do a presentation, I'm like, just let me do it. So
Good to get in there and get it rolling. Yeah. So I really enjoyed your chapter 21, which is confidence from the heart, affirming your I-ness. And I know in that chapter you talked about, like really standing up for yourself, which often, especially for women, and also when we're dealing with the medical profession, we often, we sometimes collapse ourselves, but you really showed that it was important for you to stand up for yourself. So just share a little bit more about your chapter, and then I've got some questions I'd like to ask you.
well, I actually was dealing with atrial fibrillation for several years, and I had gone to the usual doctors and I had said, this is not right. And to a man, and I'm not blaming the males because I love my cardiologist dearly, they said, well, it's that time of your life. And I kept saying, no, but this is still wrong because it's not normal. And they kept just brushing it off and brushing it off. And I ended up having quite a severe incident, landed myself in the hospital for several days. And it just kind of, I thought to myself, I'm the one carrying this body around.
Mm-hmm.
I know it better than anybody. So, like I said, I have my cardiologist who said to me, yeah, you do. And I thought, okay, this is good. We're mostly on the same page. I ended up having to have a procedure because by that time I was in a position where there was worry about damage. Sorry, we have bad weather here. So the person who was doing my procedure was a young doctor, brilliant, and talked about 500 miles a minute. And it was very difficult for me to grasp what he was saying. And so I kind of took matters into my own hands and told him he had to stop and slow down. And I don't think anybody had ever in his career as a doctor told him that.
Mm.
And he stopped, he slowed down, he explained the procedure. And I said, all right, that's okay. That's all I wanted, was for you to tell me what you were going to do and let me have some questions answered. Let me be a part of the whole process other than just the person on the table.
Mm.
My sister worked for him and she said, I don't quite know what you said to him, but it was pretty awesome because you could just see on his face he was pondering that the rest of the day. And I was young to have this procedure done. So my thing to him is, well, what if you have someone who's 20, 30 years older than me and they're scared and they don't know what's going on, and you've got the white coat on, you're a young guy, they're going to be too scared to ask you questions. So you have to anticipate how they may be feeling. I know it's hard sometimes, but you got to put yourself on that side of the table instead.
Mm. And self advocacy is so important. And as you've said in your chapter, you talked about being the good girl and how we often play that role. And we there's a point then we've actually got to stop being that to be really true to ourselves, which is a beautiful way that you've shared in your chapter. So I've got a few questions I was going to ask you. So
Mhm.
the first one is, what is the best compliment that you've ever received?
You know, I had, it's so weird. Most people that know me very well know that I'm very forthright. I kind of, after I hit 40, my filters went away. And I'll be nice about it, but I'll tell you what I need to tell you. And when someone came up to me and said, "You are absolutely a natural teacher. I see you in front of the class and you just take control without intimidating anyone and you just teach the class and everybody feels so good." I thought I was just blown away with that compliment because I never saw myself as a teacher. I saw myself as someone who was kind of the person that gets stuff done, the person who's like behind the scenes all the time. I
Yeah.
never really even saw myself in front of a class, much less teaching yoga, much less with the approach I have. And so to me, I had this grin on my face for a couple of days after that.
Hmm.
And it just made an impression on me and it kind of informed how I approach things now.
Mm.
Doesn't change the fact that I'm still forthright, but I mean, I look at it and say, wow, this is a passion that I didn't know I had.
Hmm. Hmm. And that's one thing I find with women is sometimes we don't receive compliments when people are giving us compliments, and when we receive the compliment, hi to your husband.
Sorry, dogs, thunderstorms.
When taking that time to really receive the compliments that are given to us, and in a lot of my group work with women, I find I say to them, people are very keen to share their challenge, but not their celebration. So I make a real point of, what are you celebrating this week? So people are aware of that. So compliments and celebration, as we're aging women, these are still important things that nurture our hearts, our souls, our bodies, our minds. So, having those compliments are really, really beautiful.
It does, because sometimes at some point too, you become invisible.
True.
We're kind of in that age where we're not seen. Marketers don't know what to do with us. Fashion industry doesn't know what to do with us.
Hmm.
So we have to make our own noise.
That's right. That's why we're rewriting this narrative for sure.
Absolutely.
My next question is, who was your greatest mentor?
I would say I probably had two. One was in the corporate world. I worked in a technical support position in a male-dominated field, and I was going for my MA. And my boss at the time, he's no longer with us, unfortunately. he passed about 15 years ago, he said to me, you should go into engineering. And I said, well, I don't like math. I can't even, I don't, I can barely balance a checkbook. But he said, you think in a way that is unique, and I can help you get through the math part. So I didn't go into engineering, but for him to see that in me and say, I'm going to take you under my wing was amazing to me at that time, because women engineers were rare.
Mm-hmm.
And my yoga teacher, who said to me one day, you need to take yoga training because I see where you could go with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not out to be like a YouTube yogi or anything. I just want people to understand the benefits and the tools that it has to offer and what it can do for you inside as well as outside.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 people saw stuff in me that I didn't see
Mm-hmm.
and were willing to help me nurture that.
And please tell our viewers what age you decided to become a yoga teacher.
I was in my early 40s.
Mm-hmm.
I probably was practicing maybe 3 or 4 years, pretty steady practice, and had discussions with my teacher, and she said, yeah, you're ready. You really are. Even if you never get in front of a class, you're ready because you're asking me questions that students don't normally ask me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up managing the studio for her. And then when she retired, I ended up buying Just Breathe Yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And now I own it and I'm, teaching there. And it's just been, like I said to my sister the other day, that's my baby.
Mm.
You know,
Beautiful.
so
And you're doing online groups as well, aren't you, Pat?
yes, we're doing online classes, in-person classes with limits because of our state's mandates. And we're also doing what we call hybrid. So it's online and in person. So if you have a reason you can't be in class in person, whether it's because you're geographically remote or you're caring for someone and you don't want to be in a group class situation, I have a setup off to the side where you can see
Oh, beautiful.
everything that's going on. So we're all in the class together.
Great, great. So for the viewers, you can join Pat's class at any time, and she's going to drop some information in a little bit later, and so that you know how to connect with her. So the last question I have for you is, have you ever experienced a miracle or an answer to a prayer?
Yes, in an odd way,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know if it was an answer to a prayer, but I, in my late 30s, early 40s, had gone through recession, job changes, layoffs, right sizing, wrong sizing, whatever sizing corporate world calls it, several times. As a matter of fact, that was the thesis for my MA, is how to survive a layoff
Mm-hmm.
when you're the one left doing 4 jobs instead of just the one you were hired for. Um, and I thought, what could be the worst thing that happened if I just was offered an opportunity and said yes?
Mm.
So a friend of mine who was in the publishing industry said to me, we were in school together, she said, I'm looking for uh, proofreaders, copy editors,
Mm-hmm.
writers. And she said it would require you to go back to school. And, for me, I was like, sign me up for that, because, the more I learn, the happier I am. And I ended up working for a major publishing house as a freelancer, but I was editing college and graduate level and career textbooks.
Mm.
I was working on the back end to analyze data in terms of the usefulness of what the um, the way they put together their packages for the teacher editions, and I was going through the quizzes, and I was working directly with authors, and I took a leap. I had no clue what this was going to get me into,
Mm-hmm.
and it has opened so many doors
Mm-hmm.
just by saying yes. And so I've learned to kind of be a little judicious. I don't say yes to everything because you can't. It's not healthy. There's no balance otherwise. But I've learned to kind of sit with someone offering me an opportunity and saying, okay. And I've networked with people I never thought I would network with. I've met people, led me to a little internship you and I are familiar with.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
And, so it's opened so many doors. And because of the skills I have, it's opened other job opportunities for me. So, I mean, it's just being open to those little voices.
Hmm. So the miracle came from the openness and not
Mhm.
trying to direct it too much.
Right.
Yeah. And what Pat is talking about, the apprenticeship we did, Pat and I met in 2015, I think.
Yes.
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Pat's in Crest Hill in Illinois. And we both participated in the apprenticeship on Elephant Journal, which gave us the ability to connect with a large group of people, a global group of people, write, edit, look after their social media pages, and so it was quite a good learning. And we each took something away and grew in that process of putting our words bravely and boldly out there for the world to look at, criticize, accept, whatever. That's the fine line. You just put yourself out there, and you'll get many things that will come back to you. So yeah, Pat and I have been friends online. We've never met in person, but since 2015. So.
Yeah. And it's interesting because of that experience, I've been, my writing was educational. I was a freelance journalist for a local newspaper. So my writing was always a step away, a step
Mhm.
back as an observer, as a person who's recording what's happening in the moment. And Elephant Journal just kind of said, that's cool, but we're going to do it this way. And it started opening up my ability to tell a story from a different way.
Yeah.
So, and that's just like the gift that keeps on giving, because you can use that in so many different arenas, just even for your own journal, your own blog, the books, uh, other organizations that are passions of yours.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing I've found about this style of writing is that people do really want to connect with you, the author.
Mhm.
And when they hear something in your story that connects with them, whether it's, even something that's not even like anything that would have happened to them, they can hear in the story. And then there's that connection that builds a rapport and a beautiful understanding of another person. And that's what really is beautiful about these collaborative books is you're getting, in our book, 22 different people telling different stories, and there's sure to be one story or numerous stories that you can connect with. So I've really enjoyed doing this collaborative approach as well. And Pat's going to give something that she'd like to share with you that you could get involved with the work she does. She's going to verbally tell you that now, but then she's going to drop that into the Facebook group.
Yep.
So I'll leave you to do that, Pat.
So I am a yoga teacher. I teach breath work and meditation as well as yoga from a functional standpoint, which means I teach traditional asanas, but in a way that you can use in daily life, core strengthening, balance, kind of movements that you would do in daily life that help you stay younger and healthier longer, keep your health span as long as your lifespan, if you will. So I'm offering 30-minute breath work sessions with me, and I'll put that information down in the Facebook group. And it's like we'll chat a little bit about what you're looking for, and I'll give you a practice that you can do. Then you have an opportunity if you'd like to join me online for classes or however you want to work this. But I'd like to offer that so that you can use some of these tools. In the book, I teach a method called SOHAM, which means I am.
Mhm.
And those are great tools for relieving anxiety, focus, clarity, helping you sleep. There is a lot of breath work out there, and I enjoy teaching that to people and giving you these tools that are just portable. You don't need a special place to breathe.
No, that's right. And it's built in to our system.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I'm a great lover of breathwork too. So, yeah, I'd like to thank Pat for joining us today. So, remember that Pat wrote chapter 21, and she's going to give that information, as we said, in the chat. I'm also going to just let you know about my business, which is Live Life with Wonder, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to do my quiz, which is the Wonder Quiz on my group, and I'll drop that in. Thank you so much for joining me. We wanted these little chats to just be very casual and intimate and short and sweet. So, to the people that are watching this after, feel free to connect with us in any way. And this group is your group for you to get information from all the authors. So, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you. Have a great evening.